we can get. So if any of you are willing to volunteer with us, we would appreciate it, also with all of the other groups that sit here at the table. There are three major topics that I wanted to cover in the little bit of time that I have. And first of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about photo ID. Here's where we stand on that. Last year, the Republican majority in Raleigh made a photo ID law their priority. We thought they were going, what they said they were going to go was they were going to go and handle this budget, and they were going to tackle all of these issues. But I've seen less time tackling issues that related to our budget and more time taking away from our rights. So whether it was sneaking in at 12 o'clock at night to take away the union's ability to deduct their dues or have these sessions that they're talking about, there's more time spent on that than spent on working on the budget. And one of the main things that it has shown its head has been this photo ID bill. The photo ID bill, they promised that they were going to use it, they were going to get it out in their first 100 days, and that they would get it passed, and they lived up to it. They didn't get it in their first 100 days because of a lot of the people here in the room. We made many trips to Raleigh over those months, starting in last February, said we didn't want this passed, but we didn't have the political strength to stop them from passing it. But we would like to say that the Governor Perdue, had the political will and the political strength to stand there and veto the bill. We really do appreciate that. But when we sit here and we look at what the photo ID bill is going to accomplish, I can say it's going to accomplish nothing. It's nothing more than a witch hunt. Out of 1 million votes, 5 of them were what would fit the definition of being fraud. And even though they might have fit that definition, on most of those there was no intent to commit fraud. So they're chasing a problem that doesn't exist. So there has to be another reason. If the problem doesn't exist, then why do they want it? And like I said, as a nonpartisan person, I don't talk Democrat or Republican, but I can say that photo ID hits people that are normally qualified as Democrats as a higher rate than it hits people that are usually find themselves listed as Republicans. By that, I will say senior citizens living in facilities that did not keep an updated driver's license because now maybe they don't drive anymore. That ID is still good, shouldn't it? That's who she is, or he is, but he doesn't drive anymore, so that ID doesn't count anymore. That doesn't sound like that's fair to me. It doesn't sound fair to me that when people living in low-income housing move, maybe they didn't update their ID. So it seems like this is more used to suppress a certain voting population than it is to correct a problem that exists. We've looked at the numbers, and looking at the numbers, we know that 400,000 registered voters in the state of North Carolina do not have an up-to-date current ID. I sat there, I've gone to many meetings in Raleigh and sat there and listened to Civitas and Americans for Prosperity say, well, you got to have an ID to board a plane, you got to have an ID to buy a pack of cigarettes. I can't find anywhere in the Constitution that I need to worry about if I can buy a pack of cigarettes or if I can get on an airplane. My constitutional right is to vote. That's something that I would like to talk for a minute for what this problem's going to fix. I'm really concerned that you pass a photo ID bill that's supposed to stop voter fraud, but if I wanted to commit voter fraud, wouldn't I do it absentee ballot-wise instead of going down there and raising my arm and swearing that I'm the person that I'm saying? There's nothing in the absentee laws that they're saying that they're going to ask for a photo ID. You know, I was sitting there again with Americans for Prosperity, and they were telling us that all of these undocumented immigrants are going in to vote. Most undocumented immigrants I know are scared to go to a county facility. But even if they did go and get the ID, I was checking it and making this laws. If it still said the same thing and had the picture, it'd still be able to vote, wouldn't it? So it doesn't fix the problem. That's photo ID in a nutshell. We need your help. Now, we heard yesterday from Speaker Tillis, and I'm not saying he's not a man of his word, but yesterday Speaker Tillis said that photo ID would not be brought up in the skeleton session on February the 16th. But on the last skeleton session, they didn't mention anything about rolling back unions' rights and not being able to duck dues. So to me right now, I would prepare for us to still have a fight on February 16th over photo ID. next topic that I wanted to touch on was the Help America Vote Act. The Help America Vote Act was instituted after that debacle of the election in 2000. Remember, we had chads and hanging chads and partial chads and didn't have access to voting. So in 2002, the federal government passed the Help America Vote Act to make lower accessibility for voting, to train poll workers, to buy polling equipment, to have more early voting sites. So with that law, each state gets a certain amount of money to use to help with voting, access of voting. North Carolina has $4 million sitting here right now that they can use for this. But there's one catch. The federal government wasn't creating Help America Vote Act so the states could get off of their part of contributing money. So it had one guideline in it. And the guideline says that to qualify for the money, the state government has to contribute the same exact money or more as what they contributed to the 2000 election. Not seeming like a big issue to get $4 million. But the Republican-led General Assembly this year funded our match at $660,000 less the number for 2000 so that it won't contribute, so that it won't trigger that $4 million of funds that we need. Now, Democracy North Carolina, we've called all 100 boards of elections throughout the state, and 78 of them said that this is a direct problem for them. And if this is a direct problem for them, the cost is going to go to the county boards to make up for the difference that they won't get in that federal funding. Again, I'd have to ask you, why would you not want to get $4 million to help Americans vote unless you only want particular Americans to vote? And everybody, to me, should count as one person, one vote. So it seems like there's something fishy in that. I want to see what else could I touch on really quick. Of course, in general, Democracy North Carolina stands for fighting for public financing and fighting for the availability of people to be able to run without taking money from special interests. We're in a whole new situation since Citizens United. The super PAC that has been created now is an incredible amount of money. That looking around the room, if you look around the room, people rely, especially with the union here. The union has been someone that's helped promote and use money, but the union will get outspent at such a rate. There's no way that even with your union dues, you're going to be able to compete with somebody like Art Pope that can just now walk in and take his money from Roses, open up his general fund, and just use all of that money to fight you. It's not fair. We still at the state level might not be able to do anything about super PACs or about Citizens United, but we do have the opportunity to work and to fight for public financing and our right for public financing. Asheville's been a strong advocate for that for us. Common Cause up here in Asheville's fought really hard for that. NCVCE has fought really hard for that. And right now the Republican-led General Assembly has frozen the funds that would go to public financing. So we really do need calls from all of you and asking them to release that money. Before I left, I wanted to draw your attention to two pieces of material. I couldn't sit here and go into detail on all of the bad bills that the Republicans introduced to affect your voting rights. So I'll just name two, but I spelled it out on the sheet. The first was House Bill 351, which was the photo ID bill, which we're still fighting. They need to come up with 4 Democrats to cross the aisle over to vote with them to pass it. That's if everybody is there. There are some situations where they don't need the 4. Like right now we know that Representative Womble was in a car accident. With him not being there, now instead of 4 they need 3. We know of 2 other people in the General Assembly now. One of them is sick and might not be able to make it to the General Assembly session on the 16th. Now they only need 2. So just because Tom Tillis says it won't come up on the 16th, remember this. Remember that when the Democrats wanted the lottery, and they caught enough Republicans out of the room, the lottery got passed. So if they catch enough Democrats out of the room, photo ID will be passed, and it will be heck to get your rights back on it. A few other bills that I wanted you to notice was Senate Bill S-47. That's an omnibus, a big collection bill that has a lot of rights that would be taken away from that bill. Just a short list of what's included in it is they would shave down your early voting days. by a week. They would get rid of same-day voter registration in the state. In 2008, 250,000 people used same-day voter registration. Not a problem with it. Why do they want to get rid of it? Since North Carolina's been a state, we've always had straight ticket voting. Now they want to get rid of straight ticket voting. Why? There's to be a reason for that. So these are the things that I really would draw your attention to. I had a little bit of more of my time that I was going to spend to talk about Art Pope, but since Chris is here, I'm going to let him do the Art Pope bashing. But I'll be happy to answer any Art Pope related questions. Please ask me. I've got bashing out like that.